Indeed. The conversation, of course, getting heated on matters state of the nation. I think let me just be fair and just give you perhaps a minute. So, I mean, whereas the whole registration is something else.
147.
Yes, star 147. Allow me to just ask all of you again. I mean,
have you registered?
Have you registered by the dismiss?
Yes, I have registered.
Uh-huh.
For me, I didn't have any complications because I went to 147, and for me, it was walking in the park because...
And it identified you by...
Because he went to that...
Again, I was not doing it under duress or in a hurry. I did it, you know, I was under pleasure. Part of the reason why most people complain about the radical reforms is a majority of guys want to do registration while they're in fact when there's a crisis.
Okay.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, so they want to do the registration, and that's why it becomes a challenge.
All right.
But the fundamental points that must be addressed is what Honorable Lach has spoken about, communication. People need to understand the procedures. They need to make it very easy. During campaigns, everybody gets to know that we are going to have an election. IBC runs very successful, you know, civic education programs before the campaign. One wonders why we didn't do these campaigns for these healthcare reforms. And as the senator, as well as the member of the National Assembly have indicated, when successfully implemented, there are people who will come to study this for their PhDs from Harvard, from Yale, from everywhere, because it's going to be a huge success story. Yeah. And then also, as Lach has indicated, maybe there is room for the authorities to investigate whether there are cartels and special interest groups that want to frustrate this process. Because, you know, when you rock the boat, when you're moving from status quo, wherever there's change, there are a number of beneficiaries who may want to frustrate the process. Because yesterday I had the opportunity of having a conversation with the chairman, Dr. Abdi Mohammed, and when he explained it, I wondered, first of all, how come the government spokesman does not understand that subject? So I said we were in a panel discussion, and we said maybe Dr. Abdi Mohammed should be the government spokesman, because, you know, he broke it down very well. But as he has done that, majority of these architects of misinformation and disinformation, they're in town every day discrediting this program. They're in town every day. They take energy drinks, they go to social media, but you know, they're painting it. Yeah.
In all fairness,
I know.
You know, you've said the government spokesperson, who, by the way, I don't want to comment.
You've already made a comment,
no.
But not comment.
And then you've said, but you know, Dr. Mohammed should have been the government. But why is he not also telling people what it's about?
Because he's the chair.
Yeah, because he's the chair. I mean, who is stopping him from running Nini on social media? Who has stopped him from even tweeting? Even to come here?
To his
nowadays, you don't even need to come to
dedicate himself to every media house
title and whatever. He just needs to go to TikTok and even do a challenge.
Yeah. But you said you don't have many people on TikTok.
Nobody. So social media. What I'm trying to say is that you can't be. This is that criticism I was talking about. Yes. Oh, government spokesman hafanyi kazi yake, hata heri huyu angekuwa huyo mbona hafanyi. So at the end of the day, the bottom line is, as we are criticizing, and I'm one of the people who criticizes, but I also try to do my part, is the communication that is out, as you have said, is being fought by the miscommunication. By the way, I love the idea of the what are they called? Not the cartoons. Are they cartoons? The black and white
memes.
They're not really memes. I'm sure they have a graphic name.
You know what it is.
I love that idea. The first time I saw that idea, and I was seeing that they were trying to portray the president, I was like, this is a very brilliant idea. And I went to our group, I was like, ay bana, mumelala, adopt this one and now use it to communicate the message. Yeah, because sometimes, by the way, you're there thinking, these are the enemies, they're coming for me. No, you should be thinking, these are the people giving me ideas to communicate.
Indeed.
Yeah.
On this whole issue of revenue sharing, Mheshimiwa Lachi, why was there, this standoff? It's not what has been contemplated in the Constitution. Why then are we supposed to be discussing and having a whole weeks of a stalemate between National Assembly and the...
Is it a stalemate?
Yes,
well, ever since I was in the Senate, I think it happened then. And it's always just that feel of each house to want to show their strength. But after the Gen Zs, I thought we would have thought through that, look, we've gone through this process, the bill is gone, So whatever we have, first we share that as we think how to bring back all these issues that was supposed to be done through the finance bill and did not work.
Okay.
So for me, I mean, it's very unfortunate. They've gone for this mediation we've gone through. But now, CS has finished before the mediation or the mediation was over. He has already disbursed. And I can see he has disbursed quite huge amounts for, I think, 158 billion so far.
Yes.
And when you look from July, he has really disbursed quite a number of, he started with 30, went September, he brought in another 32. He's now finished with this 30 that he has disbursed. So you find, for me also, we are not being fair to ourselves and to the country because one, the Constitution anticipated that now in 10 to going 13 years of these constitutions, counties would have had now some grip of saying, you know, when counties come and say we will shut down, then shut. Yeah, I'm about to tell them shut. Yes, because also it's very unfortunate when you tell us in 13 years that there is no space anywhere you can get money to just run salaries for your people.
On-source revenues.
On-source revenue, especially counties like Nairobi, you have on-source revenue that is enough to pay salaries. And move on, every city, Mombasa can. So, Mandera, Wajir, they can. I mean, when you find ourselves even going back and saying, oh, equalization fund, you're asking yourself, are we okay in our country? That this is Turkana that has received more than 10 billion for the last 13 years. And it is still Turkana that was independence.
To be very honest, there's nothing to show for it. You know, these governors, and I think a member of the
Can I correct them?
Just a minute.
Because no, they're running on fake news.
Which one?
They're running on fake news.
Which one?
Equalization fund. Has it been disbursed ever?
No, I'm saying.
No, I'm asking because let's now first give that clarity.
Listen first.
Has it ever been given and to that county? Because
I have said we had equalization fund. Let me.
Has it been disbursed?
It has never. But
yeah. So how can you say they've been receiving and receiving?
No. You have received the shareable revenue.
But has it been
10 billion? Even if you don't receive the equalization fund, you can still change your county if you want to change that county.
George, allow me to give clarity.
This at the equalization fund is more important, so important, when you look at even the figures, and you look at the figures of shareable, you are better off with the shareable revenue.
Yeah.
Can I give clarity?
Especially the ones for Northeastern.
Yes.
When we came into Senate in 2013 and gave in the functions, and in fact, I remember me and Billy Okero, when we were in the finance committee, we argued and told them, you cannot take all functions because you are dynamic. Each county, look at Lamu. Does it need all these things you're saying? No. Go slowly by slowly. They said no. I remember Isaac Ruto saying, no, we need all the functions. Fine, the functions came. The first time the governor of Wajir, in 2013, you'd walk in Wajir and you'd feel devolution is working. He did fantastic. When he left, by the time he's coming back, Wajir is down. So what happened to the next governor who came in? He just killed every foundation the governor did. He's now back again, I think reorganizing again the foundations. And yet, remember these are counties that were virgin.
Okay.
In terms of, yes, you have not. So you can do a very good plan to start your county at the right level. So for me, after working, after being a senator for 5 years, and being a speaker, you cannot tell me anything. You just need to function.
Yes, this man.
Yeah, I wanted to buttress a fundamental point that she has raised. Yeah. That with all these resources that have gone to counties, majority of them, if a county has received, say, 10 billion, and you go to that specific county to audit the projects, you will not see that 10 billion with your naked eyes or even with a microscope. There is nothing to write home about it. And then another fundamental issue is that a majority of the county governments have actually become, to use a cliche, they've become employment bureaus. majority of their resources go to salaries. Again, very minimal, if at all, goes to capital expenditure. So all the resources that they keep on getting, they go to recurrent expenditure. They buy top-of-the-range vehicles for their governors. They buy flowers. And then on average, every governor's got a retinue of political advisors, economic advisors, all advisors. Yet they've got CECs and chief officers. As a member of parliament raised the issue a few days ago, if Kenyans would have seen value of where the resources have gone, then they would actually be supporting the governors when they raise these issues. But now governors raise issues, but the average Mora or Akinyi cannot place their fingers on where the resources have gone. Yet, it's on record, and even EACC has confirmed. And I remember at some stage, Honorable Wetangula indicated that after every election, you create 47 billionaires in Kenya. After every election, you create 47 billionaires in Kenya. And those MCAs who would not afford a cup of tea at a local 3-star hotel, after 2 years, they can buy the 3-star hotel. They're the ones who own all the properties in every county. So every Kenyan knows that this money is being lost. In fact, Honorable Mbada has just indicated today 2.2 that we lose 2 billion. And Kenyans have had the pronouncement. Right now, they are going to bed. 2 billion Kenyan shillings. He has indicated
2.2.
Yeah, he has indicated that if now that is an increase. You remember President Kenyatta indicated 2 billion. 2 billion. Now it's we're moving up. Now it's 2.2. Yes. Then Badi says that if you're able to cover this, then you will not be going to the IMF and World Bank meetings with a begging bowl.
True.
So what are we talking about as Kenyans?
Indeed.
That remains the question.
That remains the question. Gloria.
I want to start from the point where I was expecting so much more from Beatrice Elachi because she was in Senate. But I have also understood it is the interest at the moment. Now she's in National Assembly. Something that people don't know is that this is not a fight about big brother, small brother. Senate will always be the upper house. Whoever wants to fight to be the upper house can continue fighting, but we are the upper house. My issue here.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know me who was in Senate.
Yeah.
You can never tell
no,
me
but you see,
there's no upper house in Senate.
This is what.
Tell you
can I have my time?
Why would I go there?
I don't want to speak over.
No, it's okay.
My issue is I was expecting her from a more informed, especially because she has even talked about having sat in the finance committee. I don't sit in the finance committee in the Senate, but I am very active in everything that goes on in the House, so I'm very well aware. The thing that you're calling a standoff between the National Assembly and the Senate, let me tell you where it's rooting for. There is an issue about the county additional allocation. So, after the finance bill lapsed, right, everyone had to take a cut. And when I say everyone, we are talking about CDF, which is domiciled in the National Assembly. We are talking about ministries. We are talking about specific places we had to take a cut, right? Now, if you have noticed since the finance bill dropped, we have had some senators, I can even say Onyonka, come out and say that this CDF is even, should not even be there. The Constituency Development Fund should not be there. It should be removed. You have had members of the National Assembly pushing back and forth. You know what the story is behind there? There is some 10 billion Kenya shillings that is domiciled under the county additional allocation fund, the additional allocation. And this money is supposed to go to the roads levy, right? Previously, it used to go to county governments, right? And that money is what now the members of parliament are trying to fight for by pushing it to CDF. So there's 10 billion that's up for grabs. And members of parliament, let me just finish. Members of parliament, through the back door, and trust me, because I'm not talking from the streets of Luthuli, I'm talking from parliament buildings. Members of parliament are actually trying to insist that this roads levy be domiciled in the CDF, such that they are the ones who are going to be controlling that money. You understand? There's a conservative order right now where the court has pronounced that this 10 billion should not be removed from the county governments as beneficiaries, and the case is going, it's in Endelea. Okay. It's, you know, it's ongoing.
It's ongoing.
Now that is the war that you don't see. That is why now the National Assembly have brought for us a bill saying that county governments should go down to 380, is it 380 billion from 420 or something like that, from 400 billion. I don't have the exact figure. Why? Because it is their way to bulldoze that the Council of Governors remove whatever it is they are fighting for on this roads levy. It is basically hivyo ndo wamewashikia. Ondoeni ile kitu kotini, alafu sisi tutawapandishia hii 400, lakini sisi mtuachie hiyo pesa iende kwa CDF. And people won't tell you this because apparently I'm not a structured politician. By the way, I'm thinking of leaving this politics, but that is the truth of the matter. Now, when we talked about...
Is it getting too hot?
No, it's just getting too annoying because sometimes we are like, look what we are talking about. We're talking about own source revenue. We are talking about counties having, you know, something which we really thought about in the 2010 constitution as equitable share. Someone is questioning it by saying Nairobi has enough own source revenue to run its own county. But do you understand that Nairobi, Nakuru, and 6 other counties are the reason why we have a basket which the money comes together, and then now we are able to go to the other counties that don't have any money. That's what it's called, equitable share.
Equitable share.
Yeah, so when you come now here and start saying, oh, Nairobi should run its show like this, Nakuru should, what about those who don't have own source revenue? Go to Kwale, for instance. What is their own source revenue? Then you will say that this 2010 constitution was only made for the counties that are able to make this money. That is not the spirit of this constitution. So the issue of how we are having a standoff or whatever, don't look at the face value of it. Behind the scenes are very greedy members of parliament trying to get an extra 10 billion into CDF. And that is why Beatrice is trying to sugarcoat. But the bottom line is, there's a 10 billion, you have spotted it, you are trying to remove it from the county governments and bring it into CDF.
Is there 10 billion?
And finally, no, it is there. You can see the conservatory orders, it's there. And finally, let me just tell you something about this own source revenue. When you look at the counties with the highest own source revenue, and you look at the economic activities around, and you look at the monies that are being spent to maintain infrastructure such that those economic activities can go on, it is not a simple matter of you are bringing 10 billion, run your own show. You're bringing 10 billion, look at the roads that you're maintaining. You're bringing 10 billion, look at the street lights that you have to pay bills for. You understand? So it's not a simplistic thing. And that's why I was saying I'm very disappointed at, let me call her Senator Beatrice Elachi, now now member of Parliament of Dagoretti North.
Now why?
Because as a senator, as a senator,
and I'm not a senator now,
in the upper house, to make sure that we protect devolution, she should understand that what Senate is fighting for is that county governments get their 400B and be able to account for it. By the way, we're not talking about wastage, and that's another conversation. But you cannot have, you've devolved functions, and then you want to say counties should have less money and take most of that money to CDF.
So that you wrap it up.
So now, we've had the RMLF levy for a while. Kera has been there for a while. And I think even when I was in Senate, Kera was there, and it was in the National Assembly, because it's meant to be money with national government, so it's removed from part of national government money. Now, Kera to date is still there, and Kura. And so when you budget for Kera and Kura, the monies will go to the roads of Kera. Most of those roads are in the constituency. Now, let me give an example for myself. So the 10 billion is not even just there. When I joined into 2022, I found they had already budgeted for money for Dagoretti North. That is how we've managed to do a road that has been there with all my 2 governors and third my governor now. And it was never tarmacked for 55 years, if you ask the people of Dagoretti North. This is the first time we've tarmacked that road from Muslim to Gatina, using the Kera money. That was of 2022-2023 budget. That's the 10 billion. So it is not where it is hidden. It has been there. and it has always been there. That is some of the monies that go in the rural, and that's how they do those carer roads in the rural. The biggest challenge with everything, even if you ask my governor to date, fine, the roads are in Kilimani. Now we are not doing, see, we are in court. Why is the governor's not doing with the monies? Because in that equitable share, if today we decide remove everything and we remain with county governments, and we share equitably per constituency, then it means Dagoretti North I can move with around 700 million. It's serious money. And I think that is where we need to head. Divide the money per constituency so that we start taking care of our roads.
Didn't I say that they are fighting for
CDF? We are not fighting. I'm just saying.
What did I say?
It's the money that comes in our counties, isn't it?
What did I say?
Isn't it supposed to come in a constituency?
They want to remove,
where is the governor?
They want to remove the county government as a beneficiary. By the way, if you go... No, listen.
The county government has its money and...
Can I refer you to the case number HCC HRPET stroke E423 2024.
Yes.
This is a petitioner, an active citizen who I'm very proud of, by the way, who went in there and so there's something wrong with these members of parliament. They have their CDF. Mheshimiwa Lachi will tell you she has about 100 M CDF. 100 million in Dagoretti North. Right? How many wards do you have?
But you see, I went for constituency.
How many wards?
If you want to come and handle 100 million.
How many wards? How many wards do you have? 5. 5 wards, right?
Yes.
5 wards with 100 million.
Yes.
But that's not enough. Now they have come to the county government.
No, we have not.
Yes, because the beneficiaries, the beneficiaries of...
It has never touched government.
The beneficiaries of... You know me, I'm not... Me, I've even given you a reference number. You can go and get the facts. I'm not talking out of the The beneficiaries of that 10 billion has always been that the county government pushes for that money that's coming from the roads levy to push on repairs and maintenance. As a legislator, what is your
anyone wants 100 million?
No, what is your
the minority here?
Let me compare. What is your interest as a legislator to implement projects? You know, our work is oversight. We're supposed to oversight. Yani we upewe pesa ufanye kazi si tukuje tuone umeiba.
No, we find it there.
Ama haujaiba. Why are members of parliament?
But now we found it.
They want now to be project managers
because it is.
They want to be supervisors of roads. They want to be contractors.
Has been there for 20 years.
They want to be construction managers. No.
We shall be all of that as long as we're in the National Assembly. So Senate should release and stay and do nothing and do oversight for the account.
Just be happy.
I really like the fight we are witnessing tonight of elected leaders. And we must encourage members of the National Assembly, Senate, MCAs, governors to engage in these fights because now we get to understand the backstory. It's not all about serving Mura, it's about serving their selfish interest. But something significant.
Especially the members of parliament.
Right now they have oversight.
Senators, we don't have.
Here we go again.
I'm endangered again.
Let me just stand up.
We have no
26 million at the public they have for oversight. They do nothing, they just oversight.
Sharing has already lied to us about
order, Gloria, okay, fine.
Senate does not have funds.
It's a fact.
I'm a sitting member. I'm a sitting member of Senate.
Go and see in parliamentary service commission. Ask them how much our senators are being given just for oversight. Oversight.
Senators are not getting any money.
They have. And it is...
I am a senator. Where is this money coming from?
They have. Why and then they went to court to try and say they need more.
Any money.
And they lost the case.
So
let this
now
have it.
100 million.
Let this have it.
I think we need to pass another law to give elected leaders more energy drinks so that they reveal all these secrets.
Have you heard really revealed today? 26 million for just
that's not true.
Oversight.
Yeah, but Maringa, something
that's not true.
And the court
and George, please, my issue on this show. It's not true. Please let's speak facts.
True.
Let's speak facts.
It's true.
The Senate Oversight Fund, wherever it started.
Just now?
Let him send you.
So as she gets this document.
Let him. You see, she's saying, let me ask the clerk.
Yes. Okay, Gloria. Let's listen to
she has been receiving on behalf of.
Let's listen to this man.
You know this clerk.
Something again, because I've heard you've received the warning sign. Something significant has happened today. That for the first time, Kenya's foreign policy is going to be anchored on Mura's interest. Today, the PCS had a stakeholders validation, which is very important. important because for the longest time, majority of Kenyans have not created the nexus between foreign policy and the person Fukoni. So for the first time, you're going to have a foreign policy which reflects the aspirations and interests for Mura. But finally, please create more time so that we discuss this subject into detail.
Factually.
Yeah, so that you give Gloria about 30 minutes and Beatrice 30 minutes. And we get an MC and a governor.
And with facts.
So that now Mura back in the village can actually understand that
the role of
these
each other.
elected leaders is to line their pockets and not serve the interest
No,
of Mura.
no, we serve the interest.
Let me ask you, which pockets did
A
a nominated senator doesn't even have an office. Let's start from there.
No, they do.
Your closing remarks. Your closing remarks. Gloria. Gloria. Mheshimiwa Gloria.
Beatrice, you used to.
Yeah.
And in the past, I'm telling
I
you,
thought it is.
which office funds do you know? Sometimes I listen to guys speaking and I'm like,
your closing remarks.
my closing remarks is this. As a member of parliament, but you're also calling the clerk. You see, there's discrepancies. As a member of parliament, I will tell you this. The issue of the equitable share, that issue, what you see and all the noise that's happening, for me, I got to understand a long time ago. I think CDF is a good thing. CDF should be left to work as it is. As I've told you, there are people like Dagoretti not receiving 100 million. That should be enough to have such impact on the ground for 5 wards. My issue now becomes on the county government, as we are pushing from the Senate, for them to get this 400 billion. Yes. I have been forefront talking about on-source revenue, making sure that it is utilized well, or at least we raise it. But I'm also aware that the 2010 Constitution, the spirit of it was to make sure that we are all addressed equally and the services we get are that's why it's called equitable share. You cannot take away money from the equitable share and pretend to care about this country, but really what you're doing is trying to drive a backdoor agenda to increase your constituency development fund.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, and that, for me, that is a really huge fundamental issue, because at the end of the day, there are so many members of parliament, they cannot even account for their CDF.
Mheshimiwa Elachi, the last word briefly.
I think one of the things we have to agree, that the model of CDF is so different, and I wish the counties would have taken the same model. Because in CDF, one of the things you can tell me, you will account for it to the last penny. Why? The committee that deals with the money is of the school. The moment you say Keleleshwa will get this amount, it goes to the PMC of Keleleshwa. They are the ones to pay the contractor until the end, and the only thing they will bring back to the office is after they have cleared everything. And there is no CDF project that starts without its own money. So it doesn't even have pending bills. It is the only fund in government that never has a pending bill. You start a project when the money is there and you end. CDF only deals with schools and security. So you cannot tell me now you can put it in roads. Roads has its own way and it has its own process with Kera and Kura.
Absolutely.
Those are roads of national government. And we have roads of counties that were classified, that I need the governors can also work on those roads of counties. So the 10 billion is an issue because it was there before even 2013. Kera was there and it used to have that money.
Some feedback here. Good evening. Why is the government not employing P1 teachers who graduated from 2010, yet it is doing so for JSS who graduated just yesterday? Mkenya Mzalenda ndio jina langu. I've been waiting for such conversations on television. Can't wait for it with some clap emoji. It's Joseph Bogide watching live from Langata. That's just part of the feedback we've been able to get right here on TV47 Daily Report. To appreciate our guests tonight, on my immediate left, Honorable Gloria Oroba, nominated senator.
Honorable.
You want me to call you honorable? This was Mukua, political risk analyst. And of course, Mheshimiwa, and they have bestowed on you.
Yeah, honorary, Tomorrow I shall receive my award.
Yes.
And Mheshimiwa Beatrice Elachi, Member of Parliament, Dagoretti. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. And for watching, my name is George Maringa. As always, stay safe and be kind to one another. Catherine Simaloy has been on sign language interpretation tonight.